On Oyo constituency, we profile one of the most prominent constituencies in the country.
The constituency is facing a lot of challenges, but the major ones are, number one, poor road network, communication network, no financial institutions, no colleges, no electricity, and inadequate infrastructure in both education and health.
Bayuthi nabo naika mulandu n'obwalwa nabana mayo bonse nabaponenamu nsunko obwalwa chena nashibonaula
echo ndeko nkomesha ndeko obuyantanshi kuno kwanga obuchinjeko kuno mukushi ze farm block ande mukushi no turalima ko everything sana so no misevo poor road networks a challenge tukwete tweshingwana na yena.
In Mukoshi we watch Parliament TV.
Watch Parliament TV, the TV that brings Parliament closer to our community.
Deva tuetamba Parliament TV kulia, kireti.
Keep watching Parliament Television.
Why 2024 is very exciting is that this founding father, this son of the soil, in the name of Kenneth David Kuchizya Kaunda, would have taken 100 years today.
Once again, allow me to repeat our thankfulness to His Excellency the President, to you and to the government of our Republic for the commitment to Dr. Kaunda's legacy.
And may the renaming of the KK, Lwemngeka's Mo to KK, serve as a befitting tribute to his exemplary life and enduring legacy of One Zambia, One Nation. And today we call it One Zambia, One Nation, One People.
course, on the airwaves as we look at the operations of the Auditor General's Office in the Republic of Zambia, which is one of the important offices. I'm your presenter, Julius Musmali, and this morning we are looking at a very important topic. This is forensic audits that are conducted by the Office of the Auditor General. And just to bring you to speed, we know that forensic audits play a very important role in strengthening our country's governance, transparency, and accountability. And these audits also help uncover financial misconduct, identify possible fraud, as well as ensure public resources are used appropriately. But as we go on into this program, we'll be able to learn what exactly the forensic audits are and how it contributes to tackling corruption and also possible mismanagement of public funds. My guest this morning, Mr. John Mulenga, who's on my extreme left, and he's Assistant Director, Forensic and Investigations Audit. Mr. Mulenga is coming back on this program, and this is not his time he's appearing. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you.
And how's the Office of the Auditor General this morning?
The office is okay.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And on my immediate left is Mr. Brighton Patsha, who's also not new on this program. He's been here to discuss other topics, and he's Director, Specialized Audits Directorate. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Thanks. Good morning, Julius. How are you?
All right. Thank you. And how's the Office of the Auditor General shaping up?
It is shaping up okay. We have too much, but yeah, it is shaping up okay.
All right. We'll continue sending work to you as we discuss the budget. Like always, these are public funds that are being allocated to various spending agencies, and the cycle completes with your office. I don't know how you also getting prepared in swing with in line with the 2025 budget.
Yeah, we are actually in swing, just trying to see to it that the focus areas are being incorporated, and how those should actually inform even as we proceed to do our planning for 2025 audits. Yeah.
Right. Like I said, I'm your presenter, Julius Musmali, and on sign language we have Miss Chola Kaoma. Our text line, in case you just want to be part of this program, is 0978-772-801. Like I said, our topic of discussion is forensic audit. So I'll begin with Mr. Mulenga. What exactly is forensic audit? And maybe you can also just share with us how the forensic audit differ from the regular audits that we have discussed on the program.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll try not to be very technical so that I think we are clear and visitors are not confused.
Okay.
There are so many types of forensic examination, but in this case, I would tailor it to the mandate of the Auditor General. The forensic audits basically are specialized investigations that combine accounting, auditing, and investigation skills. The main purpose is basically to uncover financial misconduct or crimes. The forensic audit differs from the regular audit or the normal audit, basically in relation to the purpose of the audit, the methodology that is used in the audit, and the outcome of the audit. The purpose of I'll just give a few examples because the list is quite long. The purpose of the financial audit basically aims at reviewing financial statements or internal controls. But when it comes to forensic audit, we have got specific issues or matters that are followed up, specific activities. This actually entails that even the report that is produced is quite different from the normal audits. Also, the outcome of the normal audit or financial audit is the issuance of an opinion on the financial statements of internal controls. But when it comes to forensic audit, it basically aims at gathering evidence and preservation of evidence that can be used for litigation or prosecution. I think in a nutshell, that's what forensic audit is, and that's how it differs from the normal audits.
All right, maybe I'll throw it back to Mr. Mpatsha, maybe to just chip in and highlight one or two things in that line.
Yeah, maybe like Mr. Mlenga has pointed out, when you look at a forensic audit compared to the other types of audit that we've been doing, and if I bring it down to Office of the Auditor General, you find that whereas the financial audit for a ministry will probably focus on us giving an opinion whether the ministry is indeed utilizing the resources as intended. If we give an example of Ministry of Health, a financial audit will look at whether Ministry of Health is utilizing the resources as intended. If it's compliance, it would be whether the laws and the regulation are being complied to. If it is a performance, it will see to whether we have the 3 E's being adhered to. Whereas when we come to a forensic audit, we'll basically have specific areas of irregularities that we're going to be looking at. If it is irregularities in the procurement area, we'll have just that particular aspect being looked at. So the other issue is that forensic is more specific into those, whereas these other types of audit will probably be looking at the generic picture.
Right. Having given us that picture, then I'll go back to Mr. Mlenga to help us just walk through the process of conducting the forensic audit, and maybe you can also highlight some of the specific steps that are taken in order to uncover some possible financial irregularities and possible fraud.
Okay. The process of conducting a forensic audit basically is a step-by-step process.
Okay.
The first step is basically planning and preparation. I think this requires that the objectives of the audit and the scope are properly defined, and also that a team that has got the requisite skills is also constituted. From that point onwards, a plan is developed, and we set up a time frame, a timeline, because we need to be guided as to when we will be starting these specific forensic audits and when we are expected to finish it. From that point onwards, the next step is basically the execution stage of the audit, where data is collected and is preserved. I must say that the way the forensic audits are conducted, the Office of the Auditor General just doesn't go in an institution and say we have come to conduct a forensic audit. There must be a reason. There must be a reason. It be from tips from a whistleblower, it could be a requisition from the actual institution, it could be through media reports that we receive. So when we come to data collection, the data collection will be very specific so that the objective of why we're conducting the audit is addressed.
Okay.
Once the data is collected, it could be an issue to do with procurement. So basically, information will be collected regarding to the issue at hand. The next stage is analysis and examination of that data. This is where we use different techniques, data analysis techniques. And then of utmost importance, which is the next stage actually, is the investigation and evidence gathering. I think this also involves recording statements, interviewing colleagues who are key to the issue at hand. Then the last stage and the most important one is the reporting stage and the communication. This is where the report is concluded. The findings, conclusions, and recommendations, and we also make sure that we have sufficient and appropriate evidence to communicate and address our objectives. Thank you.
And this step, as you do conduct this audits, I'm sure there are various fields where you go, basically not dealing with figures. You are also doing certain inspections. If, for example, you've talked about if it's a procurement process, you inspect the particular items, maybe if they are reusables or perishables. How do you conduct these forensic audits in that line to make sure that you achieve the intended goal?
Maybe if you can come again.
No, I'm talking about, we are looking at maybe when you conduct a forensic audit, maybe the field is vast.
Yes.
You may be conducting a forensic audit on some perhaps perishable goods, or maybe something that you can still touch or feel. If it's a building, it's a construction, was a procurement process followed, was the right materials used, and so what steps do you follow to make sure that you achieve the intended goal?
Okay. The steps that we follow basically do not differ so much from the normal or regulatory point of view, because we have to inquire, we have to inspect, we have to see, but basically it's just maybe the type of evidence that we need to have, that basically we go a step further. In making sure that we don't come to a point where we are disagreeing with the client on what we are observing. So we always try to make sure that whenever we are conducting a step, it be a physical verification. We have the auditor, we have the witness to actually witness and certify on behalf of the client and also on behalf of the auditor.
Maybe before I come to Mr. Patisha, from your experience, what are some of these common types of financial misconducts or fraud that you have uncovered as a result of a forensic audit that could have been conducted? Yeah, I think I'm still with you, Mr. Patisha.
Okay. Thank you so much, Julius. So maybe just to also add to a comment on the steps. So if it's an issue of either perishables or goods that infrastructure that has been constructed, it could be in any particular location. First and foremost, you find there will be a request that will be given to us. That particular request, it will talk to the fact that we have this area of concern or financial irregularity that has happened. We have paid so much, but it's not commensurate with the deliverables that have happened. So with that particular request, that will form the basis of our investigation. And the entire process that Mr. Miller had spoken to, the issue of planning, defining the audit, the objective of those, getting the evidence, and ultimately analyzing that evidence and into the reporting stage, it will follow like that. But always there will be a request or a specific issue that we need to follow up with. That's one of the steps that we have. And then in terms of, you mentioned the types of these irregularities that we do follow up from a forensic perspective. We could have what we call financial statement fraud. So with financial statement fraud, we are basically picking it up from an angle that the financial statements that have been prepared by an institution, we could have specific concern. Is it that there's a concern that profits could have been overstated? In which case, do we think that there are certain elements that were inflated? It could be revenue and stuff like that. So that is one area in as far as that is that we follow up. The other issue, misapplication of funds. It could be misappropriation, and it could be issue to do with corruption or bribery. So those are various areas. There's also an area that we haven't dealt so much, but it's an area that as the office we arrived to is the issue of computer fraud or cyber crimes. So those are also areas that as a forensic you may find yourself looking into that aspect.
Maybe there's appearing seemingly a very thin line between the forensic audit and also the regular audit, because basically it appears to me that the focus is almost just the same. At what point does a forensic audit? At what point is a forensic audit triggered? Maybe you could have conducted a regular audit, and seemingly maybe it's like maybe a thorough job was not done. You still go back to the entity again to conduct a forensic audit after you have conducted a regular audit. How do you reconcile the two?
So we have had cases where we do an audit, say, for a ministry, say Ministry of Education. We do a regular audit in that particular institution. When the regular audit was done, probably there could be a specific area that was identified as an area of concern. So meaning not necessarily that a thorough job wasn't done. A thorough job could have been done, but as to the aspect that are needed for us to take up that issue into the courts of law, it is what would trigger the forensic audit. So if we give an example of, say, Ministry of Education, we look at the entire areas within Ministry of Education, then allowances, for argument's sake, are identified as an area of concern, and they feel there's need for us to dig deeper into the allowances to establish who may be involved in the process and the nature of the irregularities and how much is involved. So those elements which feed within the forensic audit, you find, would be some of the factors that would trigger us to proceed in a ministry that we've done a regular audit, and we proceed to do a forensic audit for that particular institution.
Right. And on this program, we have, of course, in line with the mandate of the Office of the Auditor General, and generally your clients, government institutions, and also other spending agencies that receive monies appropriated by the House, and that is coming from the Minister of Finance, so basically that drove resources from Control 99. How do you ensure impartiality and also independence? You are all government workers, so as you conduct these forensic audits, how do you ensure impartiality for you to achieve the intended goal?
Thank you so much, Julius, for that question. So first I'll start with, our forensic audits will normally come in two folds. One, we could have a request from stakeholders. Stakeholders could be Parliament, stakeholders could be the controlling officers in these government ministries, stakeholders could be the law enforcement agencies, because there could be areas that they're investigating and they realize that probably we may need people with expertise to look at this area before they can proceed further. And also it could be at times from the general citizen. We do have a toll-free line which is 5566. So we could also have the citizen triggering or sending us pointers for us to proceed with that forensic audit. And then the other area could be the one that I mentioned, the audits that we could have undertaken that we feel there's need for a forensic audit to be done. Like you mentioned, Auditor General is part of the bigger civil service, and in terms of resources, you realize that we basically get our resources from the same port that other government ministries are getting, and that in itself, you may find that will have an impact on the financial independence. But when it comes to our operational independence, the Constitution empowers us. So we have our operational independence that enables us to determine the scope, the methodology, as well as the timing of this assignment. And over and above that, you'll find that even within the office, putting the aspect of financial independence aside, considering that we are getting the resources to conduct this forensic audit from the main port that everyone is getting from, we find that we do this rotation. The rotation will just help us to ensure that we are maintaining the independence and the familiarity. All those threats that would conflict with the auditors being independent are looked into that. And we also have cases where we have engaged other independent firms like the private audit firm to just help look at some particular aspect. That is also just to build up the independence, but not only to build up the independence, at times it could be because of the workload that we may have as an office, so we push our colleague to look at that. And in maintaining the impartiality for this particular assignment, you'll find that first and foremost, all the forensic auditors that we do have in the office are professionals. So they arrived to the fact that they subscribe to international organizations